In this video, we'll share with you our best trades of 2024, trades we've each taken that made us the most money or the most PNL, or also the trades that we were really proud of. So we'll share with you how that went, things we thought through in the process. We'll share with you some charts, of course, and you'll get to understand how we trade and a few things that we did really well this year. So we won't share the bad trades here. It's going to be only good ones, but keep in mind, we also have some losses. That's totally normal. These are going to be exceptional trades we had the past year. We want to share them with you so you understand what it's about. And of course, you can maybe get inspired or get some lessons out of it. All right, so Michael, let's start with you. Tell me about your best trade last year and kind of how it unfolded.
Yeah, well, I'm very mechanical. I try to trade by the book, but every once in a while, something just goes, rogue. And mine actually was some of the memes that popped up earlier in the year. I think around May is GME and GameStop, and just the craze went on. And I had a position. I was building up. There were some signs I was popping. I have some interest, some volume, so I got accumulated about 3 or 4 times, and then this infamous day where it just went absolutely crazy overnight, gapped up, it was like 30 to 80 and pre-market, and I couldn't get out. I was trying to sell something, I just couldn't get out. And then by the time I was in my car driving, and by the time I got the market opened, I got out at like 52 on average, but it was like a 32-point gain. I was thrilled. It made my year, and it played a big role in my overall results. But sometimes, it's always good to play by the book, but boy, every once in a while, those are so sweet. And the memes did it for me this year.
And I'm guessing that size was small in that trade. Did you kind of go with your usual size, or did you risk less to take that trade?
I originally had my original size, but as volume started increasing, it wasn't, where are the sellers type mentality where nobody was pushing it down. I added a few more times. Sort of a YOLO thing. I mean, you're talking about meme stocks here. But every once in a while, I think, and this is a risk metric talking, you have to push it. And it just paid off that time, and hey, no regrets.
How did you keep track of the loss in case like the price will go against you or something?
I tried to get as much part of where I was in a break-even situation, and then at one point I was, but it gapped up overnight. And a meme stock overnight, you can't get out of it, So you're just hoping to pray. And it was like 7 in the morning. I'm driving, I'm racing, I'm speeding home, right? And just hoping the price would stay that way, but it didn't. It started coming down, and I bailed. But it was still the best trade of the year. It actually could have been a lot higher if it happened daytime. But I'll take it. I'll mark it in the books, and hopefully, 1 or 2 of those a year, you get a little lucky, take it.
I mean, that's a good trade. But you also had one on, you mentioned Carnival, the cruise company. Tell me about that one, how it kind of unfolded.
Oh yeah, this is sad. I'm a professional trader for 20 plus years, and one of my best trades, percentage wise, actually, is Carnival Corp. And I was booking a cruise, and I found out you can get some credits on board if you're a stockholder of Carnival Cruise Line. So bought 1,000 shares. So okay, fine, let's do that, and I'll just sell it real quick. Turns out it's the best trade I had all year, and it was up like 65% as of this time. And I was saying, but sometimes I guess the lesson learned there is you could do all the analytics and all the things with indicators, but sometimes just the markets don't care. They just go crazy. So sadly, my claim to fame as the best trade I had a year was to get $100 in onboard credit on my next cruise. And it pays over $1,300. Pretty cool.
Do you look at charts, or do you just let it run and kind of not look at it?
Well, I'm a trader. I always look at charts, but I had to make the deposit like that week. So I just bought it, kind of in the dark. But it did look good. It did kind of look like it was holding its own, but I would have bought it anyway. But I bought a little extra because the chart looked interesting. So, and I'm still holding on to it. So who knows? Maybe the market will curse her.
I mean, my best trade last year was on Netflix. Actually, that's a trade that started like a while back, 2023 or so in October. And I mean, I had my stepbrother tell me that he like bought Netflix to invest in it, like keep long term. And just a couple of days after, the stock like gapped down by like a lot, maybe like 30% down in like a day or so. So I just kind of started to look into it, bought a very small position. Then I had like one of my usual setup, the Bonjour Universal, bought a bit more there. And it just like kind of started trending from there, like from the, like, I think it was around $350, went all the way now, it's like at somewhere like $800. So it took a while. I'm still holding on to it, like some parts of it. But I mean, it was just like a beautiful run up, and it's like some gap up, and then it will kind of continue going up and up over time. It was just like a very easy hold. And I mean, it could be scary to go and buy when you have a gap down like this. It could be definitely like not too easy to do that. But I just kind of kept the size really, really small, just like a filler position, added a bit more to it, added it more, and trailed the stop loss eventually. So it was on profit. Now I think it's been up like 150% over the past year or so, which is kind of crazy.
But your patience, I mean, you've had to have I'm in this still in patience. I would probably gotten out, but how did you manage your patience?
Part of it is that I only look at weekly charts. So like every week I would look at it a little bit, and it would always like have still a very nice trend. So it wouldn't change too much. that means I could just keep it. And I was trying to be patient. If it goes down, doesn't mean like I have to go out. It means I can just maybe add to it a little bit more. It goes back up, you can just kind of chop your profit that way. So all my trades were all in profits by far. And then it's just a matter of like you add a bit more. It's a very small risk to add, and you can keep going and building your size that way. So it was an easy hole for me.
That's awesome. Alex, what was your share your story?
Yeah, for me, my best trade of the year was also another trade in an instrument that I usually don't trade. I usually trade Forex, and it's usually with algo trading, but this was a manual trade on options. So it started at the beginning of the year. There were some news in China in general related to like improving. China has been in a downtrend for the past 5 years. And when I say China, I mean the whole story of China plus Hong Kong. And living in Asia, living in Macau, I pretty exposed to Hong Kong. So I was curious since the end of last year of, okay, let's see if possible to start trading a bit on the HSI, the Hong Kong index. I don't really want to trade on the China one, but I noticed that many stories or anything has to do with China will affect the HSI, and it kind of like mirror almost to theirs. And I started looking into it, and it had a run up at the beginning of the year. And then I was looking at the charts just randomly one day because I was listening to a podcast related to China investing and to how the outlook for China for the next years. And I was like, let's see the charts. They're saying this, they're saying that there are good things, they're saying that it's good run in things, but let's look at the charts and what they tell me. I have been algo trading for a long time now, and I have mostly stepped out of manual trading, but let's see what the charts are telling me. And the chart looks really good. And they had a run up and then a pause and then a go down, kind of like a support area in there. And I said, let's just see what we can do. And since the HSI index and the futures, the HSI index, it's not available in many brokers that are FX brokers. So I started looking at the futures, and then in the futures, I was looking at, okay, I cannot get it with the risk I want with the position because it's pretty wide, the movements. And with the position sizing, it wouldn't make sense. So I started looking at the options, and I had made the options trade, not because I really wanted to trade options or anything like that, just because it allowed me to have a built-in stop loss with the options expiration price and all those things, in which it made sense risk-wise, the money I wanted to willing to risk there. And then I put the trade, and I literally forgot about it for 3 months. I originally put a trade thinking, we need to buy a new car soon. Just put a trade that if it pays off, it will pay off the car. And I put a trade, and I was like, yeah, let's put expiration in the delivery date to my car. Then my car was going to be delivered around in September, but just put expiration date for September. Just get the options for September. So just like Michael, like something that is not really like really trading like the rules, but it was like September looks like this is a multi-month thing. So September makes sense. It's matched with deliver the car. So just make a nicer thing there and add a bit more of size because of the car thing and that part. And then I just put it there, and then I forgot about it. And then one day I was talking with one of our members in the academy about options. He does option trading, and he was talking to me about, and then he just mentioned something about if I had seen recently the China option, because he was like, do you have any recommendations or any banks that you have, around there? Because he was looking to invest into Asia. And I said, I don't know, let me check. And I checked the charts, and I was like, I don't know, maybe hold up on that thought. And then the next day I sold the options. This was in May. And a week later, the next down move in the big down move in the stocks in the China or in the Hong Kong exchange happened. And I was like, I didn't really get fully paid for the car, but I basically made like 60% of the car price in one single trade that was essentially by luck looking at the charts at the right time to enter and to exit. And I was like, okay, this is enough profit. I already made, I think it was like 5R, something like that in that trade. That was pretty good. And then versus the total risk that I was willing to put. But the equity in the option almost never went to negative. It was always in credit. So it was one of those trades in which you are like, okay, I've been doing this for many times, and I have all these rules. And the times in which I don't follow my rules properly, I get one of these massive things. But would I do it again like that? No, I would not do it like that again, because I know that if I do it multiple times, like over 20, 50, 100 trades like that, I will lose money in the end. overall. So it really has to be, if I'm going to continue risking my money, I will do it with my known trading strategies in which I know that they have an edge, and not just
you say
random trade.
kind of a lot of luck involved too. Would you just like involving a lot of luck that trade, or was it?
I think the main lucky parts were that I wasn't ready in the earlier part when the market started going down to trade options. And I had just looked at the futures, and then I was a bit lazy with like, okay, I need to learn a bit options because I'm not going to put an options trade without not knowing enough about the market, right? So I started researching on that. And while that happened, it went basically to the bottom of the channel. And then once I had enough information, okay, I know how to manage my risk. I'm a trader. I know how to manage my risk. I know how to do those things. But options, they have different characteristics. They have different numbers. And finding data sometimes in the trading platform was a bit hard to do. So I actually trade that trade. I did it all by my phone because the interactive brokerage platform in the phone was easier to understand the risk and all the characteristics of my option than in the PC. So it was just one day in which I just say, okay, we'll stop being lazy. I will do my calculations, do my numbers, and the stock is in good price. It's still in the other parts of my technical analysis, like price action based analysis, still hold. And I just pulled the trigger that day and
Love it. That's fun. I want a new car. What was the common element throughout this conversation? We're all trader junkies. That's the first one we all admit now. But really, we all pushed the button. We all took action, whether we're like a good trader or not. We all pushed the button. And yeah, I mean, we're taping this, in a king room overlooking, at the Ritz-Carlton in Hong Kong. So something must have worked out. We must be doing something right. But it's good and interesting to see these stories. And I think also, it's not just about price hitting the moving average. It's about getting in, having a thesis, a bias, and just let it roll. Most of them we get stopped out, but some of them, take off.
I mean, the thing is, these are all like trades in stocks or instruments that we didn't really know about before. Like the HSI, Alex didn't really trade it before. This Netflix didn't really trade it. I kind of heard about it. Your Carnival stock, you didn't know about it before. You kind of look into it. So sometimes you get recommendations that kind of pay off, and that's kind of cool. I mean, it also reflects what you're around and what's your environment. I think that makes a big difference. But it's a matter of like getting in with maybe a very small size, and then as it goes in your favor, you add a bit more to it, and you continue that way. And if it goes against you, then you just get out with a small loss.
Thing that I would say for our viewers is these were, as we mentioned before, exceptional trades for the year. But you also may notice that even though we didn't know much about things when we entered, and may have been lucky the time we entered, Etienne entered basically just after a gap down in the price. I entered during the bottom part of a channel with us a rest in the next part of the trend. But we all started to look at more and kept educating ourselves in the instruments and in things. And we didn't just go like, okay, I have this and, I'm the greatest trader ever just because I traded this without knowing. We were a bit lucky at the beginning, but if I had continued and carried to expiration, I would probably have done maybe a bit almost break even because the price went up and then fully down. If Etienne hadn't added to his trade after continue following the price, continue following the strategy, the Bollinger Band reversal strategy, into adding more, he will have maybe had 80%, 90% profit, but in a really, really small position size that doesn't really matter. If Michael hadn't pressed his risk and push it, he will have had a pretty good trade, but it will still have been just a normal trade in the outlook of our whole trading portfolio on the big picture of our trading. So these things only played out because, yes, we're lucky, but we did the effort and we did the work afterwards to manage it and to go forward with them.
I mean, if you want to see how we trade, I've done a whole course about the strategy I use, the one that I use for Netflix. You can see my whole trade. I'll get you the details of that. Also, you can see the logic of the indicators I use, how I trade with them, and how they make sense to add over time, and how you can build positions that will last a long time with the trends. It's going to be linked below. You can check it out. It's going to be a free training. I've went through all the details of the indicators, how it works all, and you can really kind of learn and use it that way. It will be really good for stocks and ETFs and pairs that are trending. So you can watch this below. If you want to see other good trades or any other topics you want to hear about, comment below. Let us know your thoughts. And we'll catch you back here in the next video pretty soon.